Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. This is JR, founder and CEO of Social Market.
Hey, my name's Leon Hitchens. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Social Market.
Yeah, and we're back with Social Ledger Report to give you more weekly news on the crypto markets and possibly anything else that's tied to it, like AI, startups, you name it.
A plug too before we start to subscribe to the channel and on Apple Podcasts. This is a new revelation to me, so I'm not injected with all the start of the shows, but reviews are the best thing to help promote podcasts. So if you leave us a review, that's super happy. Maybe leave your best meme coin as a comment in the review. But reviews on Apple Podcasts and subscribe and leave a comment on YouTube.
Yeah, totally. So we're still kind of new at this podcasting journey we're doing. So any feedback you have for us to kind of improve your experience would really go a long way for us. If there's something you'd like for us to do, let us know within reason, I guess. But yeah, like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Give us a follow on any other platforms. And yeah.
Let's talk about the whirlwind of crypto it's been a few days, but it's felt like 2-3 weeks with how crypto hit a low or was heading towards a low, heading towards a sell-off, and then ETH took off and hit an all-time high again.
Yeah, totally. So the top coins right now in crypto are Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Binance, and Solana based on their market caps.
Solana hit 210, right?
Solana.
The Binance one.
Good question.
Let's see. I think it was almost 210 that it hit.
So right in the last week, it was like right at 211, and
Okay.
right now it's sitting at 204, which
Which is high for it.
yeah, not to get very analytical here, but if you look at the chart, there's a massive spike, and I think this is reflective in any other token you look at. So I don't know. Let's look at Bitcoin, for instance.
I wonder if it aligned to the announcement
Yep.
where, yeah, this is a spike right now.
Yeah, it went up for a bit. It was at 117, and then it today. I think it's looking at today or something. But yeah,
No, I think we had the rumors of market rate cuts. You know, the tariffs are being not as destructive as most economists thought. Like, everything's looking in the right direction. Trump is also aligning a lot of legislation around crypto. He's making sure that investments are happening. He's making sure that the SEC is settling all these cases. So I don't know if we're going to see like a crypto type winter. This could all turn into a giant bubble and Trump exits office and we run into a brick wall and, you know, it turns into a train wreck. But I'm kind of hopeful.
you know, even after Trump leaves, for better or worse, I'm hoping that the crypto markets kind of just become the real winners. There's a lot of things that he's doing, and him and Doge and Elon have been doing that affects other people's livelihood. But if anything, I think the real winners here are going to be the crypto markets and possibly the corporations as well. Even if we have someone that isn't super pro crypto after Trump, I think, given the legislation that's been taking place with like the Genius Act and then the Clarity Act, I think the goal would be to keep the momentum going for developers and businesses trying to actually improve the financial systems as we know it, because that's kind of like the efforts everyone has been doing by kind of getting Trump and our representatives to be aligned with crypto, like the Stand with Crypto organization that was kind of created by Coinbase. So yeah.
Just thinking of Coinbase and then also talking about Brian Armstrong, like there's still a lot of people that believe Bitcoin could be much, much higher. Like, I know this is just a
Totally.
salacious claim, but Brian Armstrong says it could be $1 million by 2030. I think that probably is too much because I don't know if it's going to skyrocket that quickly over the next couple of years, but I could see it at 300 to 500 very easily by 2030.
It's very possible. I think what would drive the demand is just having all these regulations passing that kind of facilitate people to not only trust crypto more, but also to use it. So right now we're probably seeing stablecoins kind of starting to position the replacement of the dollar. I think the dollar is inevitably going digital, or in the very least getting replaced at some capacity in
I
the
don't know
near
if it's going to be a
future.
replacement per se. I think it's just going to be like a remittance platform where,
Remittance.
yeah, remittance, like transferring money around, paying people, paying things. I think
Yeah.
USDC will be kind of the some sort of like one at the bank, like Bank of America, wrapped stable coin. Like I feel like every bank's gonna pop up with stable coins, so you can say and transfer $1,000 all the way to Wells Fargo, have it converted to theirs, and then still spend it as like USD. I think it's just gonna be more institutions that hold USD, but also there's just like a premise of cash is like baked into our society. I don't think it should go anywhere just because crypto is taking over. I think there should be some sort of cash system. There's too much crypto big brother if you have everything tracked. Like that's the one spot that I stray on.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the reason why I think, you made a point that Brian says that Bitcoin could reach $1 million each token by the time it's 2030, which is, in my opinion, a very optimistic kind of thinking. I can definitely see it reach that level within our lifetimes. I just don't know when exactly. The only way I can see it happening by 2030 is by having governments, companies, and 401ks.
Pour into like more than just ETFs. Like I saw the money market had like hundreds of millions, if not like billions of dollars sitting in money markets, not really doing much except for holding like bonds and treasuries. I could see that shifting out more and more. Also, like the reason Bitcoin continues its march forward is not so much like all the other parts. It's the fanfare people going on CNBC and like pushing it forward. Like you don't see that with Ethereum as much. You don't just have random people out there saying Ethereum's going to be 10,000 by the end of the year. Like if you had more people saying that, there would be more buzz around it and push. Like I think right now you have AI pushing forward so heavily on how it's going to change the world that it's also really hard for like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these coins to really keep the momentum going sometimes, because you have people split of like, oh, AI is changing the world and crypto's changing the world. Like that's a lot for just mainstream public to be like, well, there's a lot of disruptions all at once, whereas 25, 30 years ago it was just the internet. The internet was the big disruption. Now this is like
it was
two bifurcations. Like you got a bifurcated path that's just like pushing you down two totally different things, but also a lot of them are combining it. So I could see it being, $1 million definitely in our lifetime. I could see it even being $1 million, somewhere sooner than I would say, but we'll kind of just see the march forward. Like what is it sitting at right now? It's at like,
right now it's almost 113,000. Currently it's at 112,976.
what was the all-time high? Like 118 or something?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We should just put like in the app, there should just be a section here that is literally, can we just pull in all-time high? Okay, there we go.
We have it right there.
124.
Right next to the order book. So what you guys are seeing right now is kind of like the outdated version of the app. We're hoping to release a much more seamless and better UI before the end of the month. So we'll keep you guys updated. Maybe by the next episode, you'll be able to see it. It sits at 124,000 as the all-time high.
So it's holding steady, which is good, but it's not going there. So for a minute there, everyone was kind of worried about Bitcoin, like, August 19th, not too many days ago. It was what, Tuesday, I think?
Yeah.
Like, this was short-term holders were selling for a loss for the first time since January, signaling either a reset or weakening momentum, which is still happening, sitting at 112, but it's still like showing strong momentum in a lot of ways. Like I know a lot of people are talking and just chit-chatting. I think with the AI, love it.
Love that.
But like there's still so much money that's just sitting in the sidelines right now. I think if Ethereum can keep pushing, like everyone's talking about $10,000 by the end of the year, 15K would be amazing. If it can keep pushing, it would help push all the altcoins. Like we actually have an altcoin season, but we need Bitcoin to hold on to make sure like it keeps moving. Trump is like, everything he says out there is about making the United States the strongest place for crypto, making us a leader in crypto, and all of that's going to keep driving the price up. Plus, as electricity gets more expensive and proof of work and all of that gets harder and harder, these coins are just going to keep getting more expensive. So there's just inherent growth in it.
I agree. The other thing is America, and not to again be political, but America is just kind of like the best place in the world for creating innovative things, for doing new things, bringing new technologies that the rest of the world can use. WhatsApp was made in America, and right now it's widely used around the world. For instance, my example with WhatsApp, creating a phone line anywhere else in the world can be expensive for a lot of people. Also, I'm not sure how their mobile plans are, but messaging is free. Every day, like hundreds of billions of messages are sent every day because of WhatsApp. So
it makes it so much easier. Like the American tech space has built most of this stuff. You don't see very many other companies like Atlassian, Canva. Those are Australian.
True. Yep.
I don't know off the top of my head any European companies that are like big ones. Like,
well, there's IKEA, and that one's Swedish.
Yeah, but
it's
IKEA's
more
not
furniture.
Tech. Like you have like
True.
enterprise stuff, which is like SAP. Outside of that, I don't know very many like European big tech companies. I do know a few that make like the Spark email client that I use. That's Ukrainian. They build a bunch of other like iOS and Mac apps. My point is like America does seem to be driving it, and the American exceptionalism is if we can keep doubling down on it, that we can push the crypto forward and have a lot of innovations that the other markets across the world will kind of follow suit very quickly.
I agree. So there was this episode from Sean Ryan show, the podcast with Brian Armstrong, and Brian makes a great point, and I think that kind of mindset resonates with every leader in the space, even with the president, where I just said that, America is kind of like the best place to release a technology that later gets used around the world. I mean, there's the internet as well, if you think about it. But he said that a lot of countries, especially like in Argentina where he lived, Argentina is just experiencing bad inflation, and even getting a loan in Argentina is really, really hard because it's hard to get a collateralized loan when their dollar is just, losing value day by day or even hour by hour. So for those reasons, we could probably be seeing that kind of inflation in several other parts around the world. So this is where crypto really comes and solves the problem. You have digital money that is scarce and could be backed by the value of everyone. So crypto really is kind of like the solution for a lot of the problems of just how the internet, for instance, is an open network. We can see different networks of money, but the whole world's going to be using a more unified network to transfer wealth. So for those reasons, it is very possible that crypto could grow exponentially. And just through that, Bitcoin could reach $1 million without a doubt in our lifetime.
I still think, I know everyone's like, oh, this is the top. Like, I don't want to buy Bitcoin because it's so expensive. It's like, no, but keep buying it. Do like cost average, like buying. Just buy it. Put it in an account. If you're buying $500 a year, just do it. You'll have some. It'll be worth a lot more in 10 years. Like just kind of keep buying across all of it.
We were kind of just talking about America kind of doing its best to be first in this crypto adoption and innovation place around the world. Well, China, kind of doesn't like what's happening. So this is from Crypto Slate. China quietly prepares the yuan stablecoins as 99% of supply is minted in dollars. Beijing's first roadmap on the yuan-backed tokens could challenge dollar dominance, but faces capital controls and global skepticism. So I think that title and the subheadline kind of just encapsulate my point here, where they're quietly trying to release this stable coin into the market, which 99% of it is supplied with dollars. So it's kind of revealing the fact of how dominant the dollar is currently, but I really don't think it'll be dominant forever because it's losing its value year by year. But the point here is China, a country that really doesn't like crypto. It doesn't like it when people have control of their own money or what would consider bare minimum freedom rights. So I'm not surprised seeing that they're kind of seeing the trend where crypto is heading, and it's really there to just upgrade the financial system, as we know. So them releasing a stablecoin kind of validates everything.
Didn't they ban like Bitcoin mining again? Like they are constantly banning mining. They're constantly bringing it back. Like I think
exactly
their currency is manipulated pretty heavily. everyone knows that. Like they see it every day with their real estate market, like kind of teetering. They inject money in all the time. No different than really sometimes the United States government. Their manipulation is just a little more bold. Nobody
Perhaps.
trades in their currency. Nobody trades really in rubles, the Russian currency. Like everything in trade is always through US dollars. Like I could see them not going to Chinese currency or Russian currency. I could see crypto becoming the currency. Like I could see something backed to the US dollar. And the reason the US dollar is the United States military backs it up in there. I think that's really what its value is. So as
Yeah.
long as that stays there, the US dollar is going to be dominant. Every empire has to fall. Like,
Well, it's
obviously,
not
but
just the military, but it's also its allies, like the
yeah.
European Union, Britain, you name it. They're all kind of backing the dollar, and through the domino effect, eventually the country that is the U.S. and the military. It's really interesting to see, and this proposal that is making the yuan more common in the global commerce is interesting because, as you know, BRICS, what is it? It's Brazil, Russia, India, and then C is for China, and then S is for South Africa. These
Yeah.
countries are really kind of forming a coalition to dethrone the dollar. So I'm kind of interested to see how that develops. I would have assumed BRICS would have come together to kind of back a coin that is a stable coin, but this is more of just China taking the initiative. And maybe, who knows? I don't even know what it's going to be called. Maybe it's going to be the yuan coin or something. If it does well, then I can definitely see the BRICS, coalition taking this influence and just this use case that succeeded with China and applying it for a BRICS token. That would be my speculation. It's really hard to say right now what could happen, but it's really interesting that China is doing this because, again, it's banned crypto God knows how many times, but they're now pioneering a state-backed stablecoin. So
Yeah.
the key takeaway here is if you haven't bought Bitcoin today, this month you need to start buying Bitcoin. People are already seeing the influence in even countries like China. So that would be my key
Yeah.
takeaway.
Well, you've got that, and then on the flip side, you've got states now issuing their own stable
That's
coins.
right.
So we have Wyoming rolling out their own stable coin. They're calling it Frontier Stablecoin or Token Stablecoin. First U.S. state to do it. Wyoming seems to be really heavy into crypto. They've always kind of done this. They're fully collateralized, 102% reserve requirement, so it's super like stable. It's going to empower their citizens and businesses with a modern, efficient, and secure means transaction in digital age. It's going to support Wyoming's education fund, so any like money I guess they make off of like transmitting money, it's going to help that. There's also supposedly a built-in section for like public meetings, public input. And that should be pretty interesting. And then it's all Solana based, and it's going to be on Kraken in the coming days. So
Interesting.
really interesting on this front. Like, I'm kind of shocked that Wyoming was the first, and also like that they're pushing it so heavily. I know it's going to live across all of their blockchains, so like it interoperates with Ethereum, Solana, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Polygon, Optimism, and Base. So it's by like the zero layer in there. It also means it's just easier to scale, the flexibility is better, and then it's also got a bunch of different integrations across the board. I think it makes a ton of sense for states to kind of do this, especially if it's going to let them do everything in a more digital way that's on a blockchain that's not really able to change. There's a lot less possibility for fraud. Like in the end, it could be pretty good. The one part again is like fraud can still happen. It just has to happen off the blockchain, and somebody fudges some numbers and gets that on the blockchain. Like, how do you prove the fraud then?
Well, fraud is going to happen anywhere, anytime, not just with crypto. In the lifetime that I've been with crypto since a few years ago, I've seen everywhere disregard crypto or just outright dismiss it because it's like a scam only place or technology. But the same can be said about anything, like the internet back in the days before my lifetime. You hear stories and you see cases where the internet was kind of like this criminal enabled system where people could just use it to talk and, I don't know, do legal things. But,
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know. Everything starts with crime and porn. Like,
yeah,
that's really when mass adoption of crypto in the adult industry is there. I think we're going to be pretty safe. Now, one last
yep.
stablecoin I want to mention because I think it's interesting that Metamask is doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Metamask is rolling out their own stablecoin built in there. It's the first self-custodial wallet to launch a stablecoin. They have a lot of big plans with it.
So interesting.
But I think it's going to be just really helpful for them. Like it's kind of like the first step to like becoming a bank in a way. So they built with Bridge, stablecoin, on there. It's a Stripe company, so kind of interesting. Maybe Stripe will, have all these stablecoins that are really interoperable. It's on ramps, off ramps, swaps if you need to bridge it. It just makes everything easier. It's going to be later this year that they're pushing it out, and overall, I think it's a really great way for them to just kind of push into being kind of like the new age bank. That's really what all of these providers are doing.
Yeah, I don't remember, but there was this one piece of legislation that went along the Genius Act. Something about banks. I know Brian talked about it several times in the Sean Ryan episode, but and it's fresh in my mind. That's why I'm mentioning that one episode. But does this make MetaMask a neo kind of financial business where it's like you have banks and they distribute banks distribute dollars, I guess, and they're more traditional finance systems or enterprises. But I think with the new Genius Act, it's supposed to give some sort of limitations if you are now provisioning stablecoins or tokens maybe. So what I'm trying to say is, MetaMask might have to comply with new regulations because of them becoming a stablecoin issuer.
Yeah, so the stablecoin really, all the laws that I know that are out there, and they're still kind of being unpacked in all these bills on what it means for every company. But my understanding is the stablecoin issuer has to have like strict reserve requirements. It's like 100% of it, or like 102 in the Wyoming one. But they're not able to like lend against these customer deposits. They're just not doing that stuff. That's the key differentiator from banks. Banks will take $100 and only keep $30 on hand. The other 70 they go invest and make money. The only way that they're making money is by the transaction fees, and that's small parts through the whole system. They're not like going and lending that money. They have to have like big collateralized parts to them. So it itself is not a bank, but it is falling under like the money transmitters, the payment license, all that stuff with the FinCEN that you have to deal with. That's what it would follow under. I would say a wallet like MetaMask issuing a stable coin, man, that's blurring the lines. What is a bank from Wells Fargo to MetaMask? Like,
kind of.
They're pretty close. Like the only difference is they're just not going to lend your money now. Or you won't get a loan from them, but you could go buy Bitcoin and get a loan that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can always use well, not always, but only recently can you use Bitcoin as collateral again for loans. While you were talking, I was looking at the Genius Act a little bit and kind of just reading what premise or what jurisdiction MetaMask would fall in now that they're technically a stablecoin issuer. So in the Genius Act, there's a couple of key points here, but I'll just keep it simple for y'all. So they have this permitted issuer status now where only quote-unquote permitted payment stablecoin issuers like MetaMask now can legally issue stablecoins in the US. This means MetaMask, through its issued partner being Bridge, they must be registered and approved by the federal or state levels under direct oversight. Once MetaMask USD or MUSD outstanding supply exceeds 10 billion, only the federal supervision is allowed. But the full reserve, to your point, so every MetaMask USD coin must be backed one-on-one by the dollar or short-term treasuries, not just algorithmic assets like USDT, like Tether. On a monthly cadence, public reserve audits are mandatory and the assets must be highly liquid and low risk. So they do get audited. So through the Genius Act, they must be registered and permitted. So I guess they need to go through a registration with FinCEN or something. They must maintain a one-on-one cash or treasury reserve with public monthly audits, and they must ensure robust compliance, redemption rights, and data privacy, or they risk to losing their license or being allowed to issue stablecoins. So it's kind of interesting because they're kind of like the first of their kind of self-custody wallets, but it's really interesting seeing how they're pushing past being a self-custody wallet to now just being an issuer. So who knows, maybe they have big plans. They're playing 4D chess. Probably their executive team is thinking like 20 years ahead of the future, and they're saying, hey man, if we are now issuing stable coins, that could open the door for several other things in the future, which could help them with the profits or with their market size, dominance, you name it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as all of this stuff rolls out. I think over the next really 6 months to a year, we're going to see what these companies have visions for. I think that's all on the stablecoin mania. We've got one more topic, right?
Well, it's a bit of two, but yeah, it's about Gemini. So a couple of things here. Gemini, and I don't think we covered this sooner, but they are actually just filing with the SEC for an initial IPO. So they mentioned it before not with the SEC, but they're aiming to be listed on the NASDAQ. So they're probably, in a way, setting up the paper filing for SEC, but also with NASDAQ. So two things from that. One, crypto is maturing. We've already seen two stocks with crypto-related companies, Circle and Coinbase. First it was Coinbase and then Circle. We've discussed before Kraken doing kind of the same thing, where they're trying to have an IPO, which it's also a centralized exchange. And then now with Gemini. Gemini is the company that's, created by the Winklevoss twins. And they also provisioned the Bitcoin credit card where instead of getting points, you get Bitcoin, which is amazing. I use it all the time and I love that card. So from first-hand experience, I can tell you I love it. Now, what's interesting is they're not necessarily making money. Their revenue is down, and they actually posted a bigger loss this year. And yet they're still trying to go for an IPO, so that's kind of an interesting thing.
I guess maybe they need to raise the money. If they're losing that, they might not have runway.
But through an IPO though,
is Coinbase profitable, or do they lose money?
Oh, they're definitely profitable. Coinbase is a publicly traded company, but they're also huge market size, and a lot of it's probably due to them being early. But
a lot of public companies still don't make money. Like Tesla was losing money quarter over quarter. Like
that's a good point.
Uber, Lyft, there's a bunch of them out there that do it. That they break traditional norms. But if Coinbase is profitable, like, just kind of makes it seem like it's a bubble. Like, I don't see how you take something that's not profitable in the exchange way and make it profitable down the line. It's just, in my mind, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, maybe they're going to lean into credit cards more and all of that, and they'll be able to churn some profit from fees and everything. Also, I notice a lot of them do, Coinbase included, if you own, like, 200K in Bitcoin, you get 4%, interest, or 4% back on this or this and that.
Yep.
But if you do it at, Gemini, they'll do the same thing. I'm interested to see what that looks like. It doesn't sound like a great business, in my opinion.
Well, this came out, according to this article by Reuters, this information of Gemini not being profitable came out through the U.S. IPO filing process from the Winklevoss twins, which is actually really interesting. I also don't know how they run the business because there's twins. Are they both CEO? I'm kind of interested to see how that works, which you can probably find out by Googling. According to this article and, on this section here, the company reported a net loss of $282 million on a total revenue of $68.6 million in the 6 months ending June 30th, compared with a net loss of $41.4 million on revenue of $74.3 million earlier this year. Now, U.S. IPO activity has rebounded in recent months following a slowdown earlier this year caused by uncertainty over trade policy changes, with several new listings drawing strong investor demand. So it's kind of interesting seeing, things unfold. One more thing here is digital asset companies have also featured prominently in the IPO market in recent months. We saw that with Circle here, it goes right into it, including blockbuster debuts from the stablecoin issuer Circle and cryptocurrency exchange Bullish. So now that one's backed by Peter Thiel, Bullish, so it's another pretty big company. I forgot to mention them. They're also part of like the more recent crypto-based companies that are IPOing. So it's really interesting to see that. Again, Gemini filing for IPO, it's interesting because they're losing money. But also...
Still probably a good buy because they're going to treat the IPO as like a meme coin and it's going to fly no matter what.
Dude, yeah. So, I mean, if Newsmax IPO'd like in 2022 and they had a breaking, skyrocket, I don't know what to call it, like value by the end of the day, I can totally expect the same to happen here on Gemini. We also saw with Circle.
Yeah, Circle. There's been a few other ones too that are crypto based that just fly off the handle and make everything like it's crazy.
Yeah. So one more thing I'll mention is now Gemini, again, known for it's the central exchange. It's also known for its Bitcoin card, which they did so much PR like in May, especially in the Bitcoin conference of 2025. And now they're losing money despite, everything. Well, now it was in a Twitter post, which I don't have on me, but they announced that they are making signs that releasing another card. And this one is called the XRP card. Now, this is from Coin Central, the platform. This is Gemini announced its launch date for XRP themed credit card. Gemini announced the release date of its XRP themed credit card, launching on August 19 to reward XRP holders with up to 4% cashback. So when I read this, to reward XRP holders with up to 4% cashback, it kind of makes me think, I'm not sure if there's more information, but I couldn't find any, but currently the Coinbase card, the credit card, they only give you 4% back if you hold a certain amount of crypto on their platform. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, listen, I can see it working though, because they finally have this, if you're paying for them, which you do gotta pay like an annual fee to have the Coinbase card, I think it also comes with like insurance for it. So central exchanges, I would never put my money in there long term. Maybe just short term in case I'm trying to move my money. But it's kind of interesting how they kind of keep you in the ecosystem. I would not trust it unless they give you some sort of insurance, because, central exchanges, it's not your money if you have your money there. They have the keys to your wallet. So, and it's a great tool, don't get me wrong. Like, that's the easiest way, in my opinion, to buy crypto right now. But if they're rewarding you more cashback or more yield just by holding your money there, and they include insurance on top of it, then yeah, I think it's a decent deal. I would not want to have more money to be able to get more money back. I don't think that's a good deal overall. But the Gemini card already, the Bitcoin one, doesn't do that. So that's why I think it's a great card. So do your own research.
I think it makes sense. It's kind of cool. I like that more than the Bitcoin one. Like, and just kind of for what I hold and everything. Like, it's kind of cool.
I love XRP.
The Bitcoin one makes sense. They still wouldn't approve me for it.
Well, okay. I think you mentioned that, which that's rough. But the TLDR from this article is Gemini announced the XRP theme card. You need to hold XRP, I guess, to receive 4% cashback. Gemini launch follows a shift in the stance on the XRP after Ripple's legal win. So, after Ripple kind of came on top with the lawsuit from the SEC, it's kind of spreading this mass adoption wave. And the last thing is the new XRP card launch has sparked debate among Gemini users in the crypto community. So I guess kind of like how we're having this debate right now.
Yeah.
Or
I could
pseudo
see more
debate.
like an ETH one, Gemini really leans into that. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah, currently the only blockchains are like financial networks. Current ones that we have right now that are massive are MasterCard and Visa and American Express. Discover, maybe, if it's still its own network.
Discover is the other. Well, it's MasterCard, Visa, Discover, or I think it's American Express, then Discover, and then now Capital One owns Discover, which makes
Capital One
another
network
competitor to like Amex, because Visa doesn't issue their own cards; they use partners. Same thing with Mastercard.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, inherently, blockchains are just their own financial systems. Bitcoin is one, it's the slowest and the oldest. Ethereum is the second oldest, and it's also kind of slow. Solana is supposed to be the more faster one. XRP might start to see a more shift to that, where it's got more DeFi tools. Right now, it's kind of centralized. I don't know what's happening in the XRP blockchain. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe they spend most of their time, fighting the lawsuit and then trying to issue their own stablecoin, the RLUSD. Yeah. But beyond that, there's really not much to know. I know banks are trying to use it in their back end, so we'll see what happens. That's pretty much the news for the week. So if you guys have anything you would like for us to discover or any thoughts on what you want to see in the podcast, please let us know. We're pretty open.
Like, subscribe, do all of that to the video, and then check out Social Market at socialmarket.tech.
Yeah, our website's actually going to get upgraded before the end of the month. So next episode, you'll probably see it. Yeah.
All right.
Great. Well, thanks, everyone.